Hey guys, welcome to my annual video. Today we're going to be looking at my AKS74U. It has been seen in countless war photos, in the hands of questionable world leaders, as well as being prominent in global media. The AKS74U was designed as a stopgap between a pistol and a rifle, to fill the role of a personal defense weapon. Some Special Forces units used the weapon, but it saw its heaviest use among armored vehicle crews and helicopter pilots. The rifle had a mixed reputation among Soviet troops in Afghanistan, as well as Russian forces in Chechnya. The accuracy was a big cause of concern, as well as how rapidly the rifle got hot during full automatic fire. The production of the AKS74U ceased in 1997. But the weapon is still being used in its intended role among vehicle crews and in various national security forces. AKS74U was made by Circle 10 in Bulgaria and was designated as the Arsenal SLR 106U. This rifle was initially shipped without the rear latch hole drilled due to the ATF's arbitrary and stupid rules. A competent AK smith fixed it easily, and I was able to get my tax stamp within a week. This rifle is chambered in the 5.56 NATO round instead of the standard Russian 5.45 cartridge. Like all Arsenal 5.56 AKs, there has been some reliability complaints made about the SLR 106U, but mine so far has seen no such problems. I based this rifle off pictures from Russian sober units to keep that cool Russian aesthetic. The muzzle device on this rifle is a Strela compact flash hider. I originally used a Surefire muzzle brake on this rifle, but the massive concussion and noise did not make me very popular. So I figured I would switch it up and picked up a compact Strela flash hider. The Strela flash hider has been my favorite muzzle device for years. I used a full-size one on my SLR 106, and it always gave me good results. This Strela provides excellent flash suppression, though it suppresses flash to a lesser degree than a full-size rifle. But I think that has more to do with shooting 5.56 out of an 8-inch barrel. It also acts as a blast diverter, so I no longer clear the firing line when I go to the range. My biggest issue with this Strela is the 3-piece funnel design puts more gas back into the rifle, giving it significantly more recoil. The handguard I use is the Zenitco B11 lower and B19N upper handguards. In my humble opinion, Zenitco is the best in the AK accessory market, in both quality and aesthetics. The handguards are solidly mounted to the rifle with no play. The lower handguard is slightly oversized, so when it is hammered into the receiver, the aluminum handguard conforms to the receiver, giving a solid lock. The upper handguard is simply slotted over the lower and then tightened with screws and thread locker. The weight of the handguards is barely more than the original wood, but I have noticed the heat insulation is worse. The biggest downside with this setup is the price. These handguards used to cost around $200, but now the price is over double that. The sanctions have really screwed up the market, and it's unlikely that Zenitco will bother catering to the West for the foreseeable future. Attached to the handguards is a Titan Industry Surefire Scout mount. I'm not really in love with this mount. The position of the flashlight gives me too much muzzle shadow, but I will say it is a very well made mount, and I am happy that at least someone is making basics accessories in the States. The light I have mounted is the Surefire KM1D with an Arasaka light body and a Surefire pressure pad. This setup is nothing special, but I like the option to switch in between IR and white light. The light is suitable for both indoor and outdoor use, with a decent throw and respectable flood. I have secured the pressure pad with a piece of electrical tape and a tactical zip tie. The laser unit for this rifle is the SOTAC Purst 4. I don't really have much to say about it yet because I'm still in the testing phase, but I can say it's far inferior to a real Purst 4. The daylight laser is basically unusable, and the IR laser works, but we're gonna see for how long. I do have a confession to make. The RKO pistol grip I'm using is an airsoft copy. I know, I'm a massive poor poser, but hear me out. This RKO was made by 5KU, a Chinese airsoft company, and it's been pretty decent so far. I've compared it to a real RKO grip, and it's fairly similar. The real grip's texture is slightly different, as well as being a bit heavier, having slightly different font on the lettering, and using more coarse threads than the Chinese copy does. Other than that, they are functionally identical. I paid $9 for this grip instead of the over $400 people are asking for real ones right now, and I think it's a solid option if you don't want to dump that kind of money on a grip. I also put on some Zenitco rail covers to make the handguards a bit more comfortable. A Strela charging handle is on my bolt carrier. It is essentially an exact Ukrainian copy of the Zenitco RP1 charging handle. This handle makes charging the weapon a breeze. It does have its drawbacks though. I noticed that it tends to snag and heavy brush, and I've seen reviews saying the screws walk out, but this hasn't happened to me yet. Another notable downside is the price. In my last AK video, I complained about the RP1 charging handle being $30. Now, it's pushing over $100. The Strela costs about half of that, but is still pricey for what it is. Moving on, the optic setup on this rifle is the Zenitco B18 rail with an EOTech EXPS 3-2 mounted on it. The Zenitco B18 rail is a fairly unique optic mount. The mount slides in between the rear sight wings and clamps on, creating a mounting platform. There is a hole through the mount so you could still use the iron sights if you want. The mount has the upside of being easily removable, but it has significant downsides. The mounting height is the most obvious drawback. I basically have a neck weld. Good for night vision, uncomfortable for normal shooting. Height over bore is also an issue, but most AK optic setups share this problem. I don't really have much to say about the EOTech. It is a very popular optic that people have made very extensive reviews on already. For my part, I'll say it's a good rugged optic. The reticle is a bit blurry for me because of my astigmatism, but far better than a red dot bloom. The night vision function is also very handy. Under the dust cover, I've upgraded the trigger to an ALG AKT trigger with a K&S precision trigger pin and retaining plate. This trigger is very light and has a very short reset, so I could dump rounds downrange much faster than necessary. I've seen some complaints about trigger slap on these, but I personally haven't had that issue. I installed a Krebs custom enhanced safety to the rifle. The Krebs safety adds a little shelf, making it slightly easier to select different fire modes. After using it for a while, I now think it was kind of a pointless addition, but I can see why some people would want the option. The pistol grip I'm using is the US Palm AK grip. I've tried many AK grips over the years, but eventually I always come back to the Palm. It just feels comfortable in my hands, and that's the most important part of a rifle grip. The stock is a SureShot SS19 stock. This stock is a copy of the Russian AK-19 stock, which is in itself a vague copy of the Magpul Zhukov stock. The stock has a solid polymer construction with an aluminum knuckle. It is quite comfortable, and being adjustable is a godsend for my lanky self. When extended, there's a bit of wobble, but nothing deal-breaking. The biggest issues with this stock is that it doesn't actually fit flush with the rifle because of the rail, and it doesn't like to latch without a little bit of pressure. My final thoughts on this rifle setup might surprise you. I don't think modern accessories are really worth it. They make the rifle look absolutely amazing, but I enjoy the rifle much more in its classic configuration. But that's just a personal preference. If you've stuck around this long, thanks. This project has taken me quite a bit of time, but I figure it was worth it. Like always, I will have a list of places where you could pick up this gear. Thanks again, and I hope to see you all out in the zone.